so inspiring, isn't it? You know what I do when I'm sitting in a darkened barn, waiting for a curtain rod? I pray. Dear Bob, please let it be a good show. You know, there was a time when people sat in darkened barns and thought to themselves, I wonder what Elaine Anderson has in store for us tonight. Or, how is Amanda Baker going to do 2 verbose female leads back to back in 2 weeks? Now it's just, oh please, Jimmy Buffett, please don't continue this charade. It used to be sitting there in the dark. You knew that when the lights came up, you'd be taken to another world. A world filled with color and music and glamour. And you thought to yourself, did they spill Pepsi on the light board again? Oh, Bob, when are they going to bring up the lights? Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Broadway Comedy Club. I'm Doug Shapiro, and I'll be your host this evening for tonight's shindig, A Night for the Barnstormers 2018, perhaps the first annual Night for the Barnstormers. We're so pleased that you could all be here tonight to join us as we celebrate and support our beloved Barnstormers of Tamworth, New Hampshire. I'll be joined on stage by a wily crew of Barnstormers, the newer crop of veterans, as we sing, dance, and tell stories of our time in West Ossipee and the White Mountains. So when I was first auditioning for the Barnstormers, before any of you were born, the equity principal auditions in New York were, nobody was there. Because everybody knew, it was common wisdom that in order to get into the Barnstormers, somebody had to die from the original cast. So imagine how concerned we were when Amanda Baker, Aaron Brown, and I were brought on in 2001 as part of the new crop. We're like, is everyone okay? Everyone was fine, 2 people had just moved to California. So I'm now 18 seasons rising, I guess you call it. And what keeps me coming back is how this town, Tamworth, New Hampshire, managed to honor its history while still embracing the new. So being able to sit and study your lines on my favorite stone steps in the world by the Swift River, being able to study my lines and also check my phone through the Wi-Fi. Or the brand new distillery that made sure to keep in line with the architectural feel of the town. Or you can get a pretentious coffee drink at the Lyceum and then go for an old-fashioned ice cream at the other school. Old-fashioned is a good word. Because one of the lovely things about Barnstormers is that it is not your traditional summer stock where they do Mamma Mia one season and then Annie the next season and then the next season Mamma Mia and then they do Annie. It's good old-fashioned tastes, such as an Agatha Christie murder mystery or a saloon-style period show. And well, I can't think of a more old-fashioned guy than Ryan Malyar. And Ryan Malyar to give you a taste of what it's like playing a comic on the Barnstormers stage. And why? Because he's the guy who checks our blush before we go on stage to make sure that it's old-fashioned. It's an old-fashioned show. Ladies and gentlemen, Ryan Malyar.
I started my career as an ingenue, now I'm an ingenue not so new. That joke never gets old, but I do. Speaking of old-fashioned shows, Doug is right. I consider any show old-fashioned if I can go around and put blush on all the men. And I get that story from a friend of mine. Back in high school, he started doing drag. And he would paint his face and put on wigs and go out to a gay bar. And one night he came back home after a few drinks and just passed out, still in high school. He woke up the next morning, came down to breakfast with a full face of makeup, and his mother said, "What are you doing? What's that all over your face?" And he realized he had makeup all over. And he said, well, I'm in a show, Mom. I'm doing a show. Well, why do you have so much makeup on? Well, they have to see me from the back. It's an old-fashioned show. I wear stylish clothes. I'm the guy who knows why a chicken goes across the street. I'm the only man who knows how old is Anne, and I place each cobbler on his beat. My boots are diamond soled, my bed is made of gold, and the king pretty girls, and dukes and lords and earls. I'm here, I'm there, I'm mostly everywhere. I'm the guy that put the sand on the beaches. I'm the guy that put the crust on pies. I'm the guy that's here at night. I take a bath and come out dry. I'm the guy that puts the wings on little flies. I'm the guy that put the hump on the camel. I'm the guy that put the cloth in croup. What's that? Who am I? Don't you know? I'm the guy that put the noise in noodle soup.
Mr. Joe Longthorne. Let me tell you about my favorite moment when Joe Longthorne, in my eyes, became a true barnstormer. Now, for those of you who don't have the good fortune to know our artistic director, Bob Shea, he spent a good part of his professional career as a mime. And this is translated into his staging, which we call bobography. What it consists of is you hit a pose, and then you travel with it. Or you hit a pose, and then you blossom into Chaucer, music theater, doesn't matter, it works for everything. One-stop shopping. So Joe was playing the male Janoo, and who gets corrupted by drink in one of our temperance plays. And he's trained at Boston Conservatory. They don't teach bobography there. And you see him like working out because he's a hard worker. And he's like trying to think, what is Bob saying, and translate it through his training. And then you see the moment where he thinks for a moment, and then he holds the bottle like Sweeney's razor, delivers his line, and walks off the boat. If you look up belly in the Jewish dictionary, it is a picture of me watching Joe. So Joe has also made his mark on the Barnstormers by just being a menschlich human being. He has brought so many of his friends from Boston Conservatory into the fold and other walks of life. We're basically Boco grad school. But he also embraces open arms to new friends in Tamworth, and now I'll let him tell you a little bit more about it, especially for you, Joe Longthorne.
Something underneath my 32 bars of candor dad. He saw a boy who belonged in Tamworth. That summer, I headed up to New Hampshire in my red Toyota Prius with my friends Pim and Trey, and had my first professional experience ever in the theater. We'll begin with a spin, traveling in the world of my creation. What we'll see will define explanation. I continued to audition for Barnstormers each year, and luckily enough, I was asked to return summer after summer. Playing bit parts in comedies, dramas, plays and musicals, it was an absolute joy each time. I was a suburban kid growing up in New Jersey who craved an urban lifestyle right across the river. I dreamed of being surrounded by concrete skyscrapers, but in Tamworth, I learned how much I enjoy sitting by the water, or laying face up in a field watching the clouds roll by. Every Saturday, I'll go to the farmer's market for some fresh crumb bun, And I can't tell you how many times my friends and I would go out to the lake and swim with the dads at night, or wander into the woods in search of secret ice cream. In my memory, this area is so beautiful, it warms my heart to think about it. It hurts my soul when I'm away from it. If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to do it. Want to change the world, there's nothing to it. There is no life I know to compare with pure imagination. Living there, you'll be free if you truly wish to be. I think one of the reasons I wanted to help put this event together tonight was I want other people to know how special this theater is. It's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. The lights don't always work. The wigs don't necessarily look Broadway. The sets can be a little flimsy, but it doesn't matter. It's perfectly and uniquely charming in its own way. If you want to view magic lands, close your eyes and you will see one. Wanna be a dreamer, be one. Anytime you please, and please save me one. You know, I've grown up a lot over the years at Barnstormers. I spent years and years desperately trying to be a performer, a working actor. Along the way, I sort of found something else. Something I like more, something I'm really good at. I started producing theater. And it's something that fills me to my brim. And I'm finding ways to make the biggest dreams I could never, ever have even imagined possible. People ask me if I'm done performing. Is that it? Do you ever want to do that again? I'm not saying never. I'm not saying when. But this right now, this is enough. There is no place to go to compare with your imagination, so go there to be free if you truly wish to be.
Now, anyone who knows the Barnstormers know that there is a play that is legendary in Barnstormers lore. You know what I'm talking about. It is so prolific it has inspired legions of jokes and references, and any Barnstormer worth their salt aspires to be part of such a time-honored tradition. That play, ladies and gentlemen, is none other than The Ghost Train. Yes, The Ghost Train, originally produced in the first year, 1931, when I started. It is one of the most produced plays ever in Barnstormers history, and it is so ingrained in Barnstormers culture that literally anytime there's a train on stage, people lose their minds, even if it's in a different show. So this Ghost Train has a very, this Ghost Train, that's a Yiddish version. The Ghost Train has a very unique and eerie climactic finale. And here to walk us through that experience is fellow Barnstormers vet, who also cut his Ghost Train teeth with me, Barnstormers matinee idol, Greg Pike.
All right, so not only is this the first show that that the Barnstormers ever produced, but they keep doing it year after year. About every 5 to 10 years, there's a new production mounting. I have been lucky enough to be in it twice already, and on the first day of rehearsal, the director will sit you down and talk through the history. The history is probably more important than the show itself, in all honesty. And we'll go around the circle, and everyone who's been in it before will tell their tales. It's an honor to be a part of it, and it feels like you're being part of Barnstormers history when you're in it. If we're being honest, the script leaves a lot to be desired. It's misogynistic, homophobic at times, the dialogue is really clunky and awkward, and you're responding to things that weren't said. It's really impossible to memorize. But here's the thing. Once the show comes together, and in true Barnstormers fashion, it always does, and in 1 week no less, it's actually an incredibly fun play, and it's a blast to participate in. It always plays full houses. It's a New Hampshire staple, with people coming from all over to see it. They pass it down from generation to generation. Every time we do it, there are kids seeing it with their families for the first time, and you can always hear people saying, I remember when I saw this as a kid. It really is a generation to generation tradition. And the thing that makes it so memorable and so exciting is right there in the title itself, the ghost train. 3 times throughout the show, a train comes roaring through the station. And keeping with the theme of tradition, we still do the exact same thing that they did in 1931, before there were recorded sound effects. We fill the backstage area with large wooden machines, and our brilliant crew makes the sound effects live every single night. And it's incredibly impressive. Not only can you hear the train, but you literally feel it rumbling beneath you. The lights flicker, the set shakes, it's truly theatrical magic. And I thought tonight we could try to bring some of that Tamworth magic to New York City. So, is anyone willing to come on stage and be a part of the New York City's first ghost train?
No.
Yeah? 5 people. Anybody else? You're going to be the first one. Try to make it with the accent like that. All right. The second one, sort of the same thing, but you got a little bit louder. Perfect. Then Taylor, if you want to do sort of the same sound effect, but with this on the ground. After you. And then here we have a train whistle. If you want to try that out, make sure that we can get the sound. Perfect. All right. All right. So we can start.
Whoa. Yeah.
My nephew Zachary was 1 year old when I started at Pike. My nephew Zachary, my mishpucha, was 1 year old when I started at Barnstormers in 2001. He was on the crew this past summer at 18 years old doing the ghost train. I had to be backstage like, baby, it really means a lot. That makes no sense. All right. Thank you. All right, so now that we've gone down the rabbit hole of Barnstormers history, let's lighten it up. So besides being a hub for young talent to shine on stage, as well as the history of veterans, we, the acting company, have been very lucky to work with generous talents over the summer, such as Sara Coombs. Sara has served as resident choreographer for a number of shows, and Barnstormers has provided a home for her to test out those skills and put our dancing feet to the test. She also has amazing comic chops, as we discovered when we did One Man, Two Governors. And the audience was completely shocked when she was the audience plant who came up to volunteer and then got lit on fire and then hit with walked out and then a fire extinguisher. People were screaming. She played it brilliantly. But here to perform Cold Feets from The Drowsy Chaperone, a number she choreographed at the Barnstormers stage, is the radiant Sara Coombs.
It was created in the summer of 2016 when I was up in Tamworth choreographing a little show called The Drowsy Chaperone. I was excited for a number of reasons to work on this show, but the tap dance was what I was super excited for. So a couple weeks before rehearsal, I get a Facebook message from my friend Ryan Malyar, who I'm going to bring back up on stage right now. Dancing George. So funny enough, his Facebook message said, and I quote, "Dear Sara, how to tap dance? Love, Ryan." It made me feel really good knowing we had a week to get that number down. So he continued to let me know that he does have a few tap tricks up his sleeve, and he went on to tell me that he does real good double pullbacks. And I said, what more does a tap number need? So we were fine. Fast forward to rehearsals, I see Ryan's feet, and I thought they were super hot. I was so impressed. But Ryan still thought he had cold feet, so there was a little coaxing that needed to happen. Hey there, Ryan Malyar, shaking and a-quaking, trembling like them free cats do. Something big be bothering you. Cold feet, brother, you've got cold feet. You can make them cold feet hot with a little down the feet, old feet, and the uncontrolled feet. You can make them cold feet dance across the stage, frosty arches. They can learn to swing. Icy toes and dive, wedding marches played in ragtime swing. Make virgin souls come alive and take that dive. Cold feet, schmold feet, turn them into gold feet. Rhythm make them cold feet hot.
Sara, what are you doing?
Woo! I'm singing a song Francis Cleveland taught me. An old Tamworth remedy for musical theater jitters.
You think you got the jitters? I got the weight of the show on my shoulders.
Ryan, sounds to me like you've got cold feet.
What do I got?
Cold feet.
What do I want?
Cold feet.
What do I do? Scold feet?
No! You make them cold feet hot.
Not this time.
Pim van A. And before we bring up the other man responsible for these evening's festivities, I have to tell you a story about how Pim helped to save my life. All right, so it was their first summer. It was Joe and Pim and Trey, Greg's first summer too, a little later on. And we were doing a funny thing happened on the way to the Forum. And this is music theater. And in the dressing room, the entire dressing room was made up of people that were all talking about the Boston Red Sox, which I hear are one of the sports. and then two other guys that they were just like swiping and looking at women on their phones. And I was like, what is this? What is this madness? And I run to the chorus men's dressing room and explain my terrible situation. And Pim, Trey, and Joe, who's on right, are like, got it. Within 2 clicks, they had Barbara and Judy singing Happy Days Are Here again on YouTube. And that's why I'm alive today. Thank you. Now, let's venture outside the 4 walls of the actual theater. Tamworth is a vibrant community filled with amazing, different types of people all milling around in the same place, such as the Saturday Farmers Market or watching a concert behind the other store on a Saturday as well. And also eating at Rosie's. Oh my sweet Lord, Rosie's. There will be cornbread, which they sent for everyone after the show tonight. But it is so much fun. It's so much fun that every summer when the theater artists arrive in town, the energy of the performers and the technicians and the designers mixing with the local flair of Tamworth denizens, it always creates a magical bond that makes Tamworth an amazing place to be over the summer. But sometimes even in a small town, big things can happen. And that is why I'd like to welcome him to the stage to tell a story from his first summer in Tamworth. Ladies and gentlemen, Pim van A.
So, my first summer at the Barnstormers Theatre was in 2010. It was the summer in between my sophomore and junior year at college, and it was my first professional acting gig. I was so excited.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a great summer filled with tons of memories. For example, we went hiking up the mountain, we went to Lake Chicoroa and swam, we would go to the Sandwich Creamery, and Greg and I jumped with Joe over a flaming bonfire on a spandex onesie. It's a great place. Out of all of those memories, there is one in particular that really sticks out to me. I was doing an Agatha Christie murder mystery, very typical Barnstormers, and every morning I'd go for a run. I'd come back to the lodge where I was staying and make some breakfast, take a shower, and then get to rehearsal a little bit early. One of those days, I was doing this easy 5K loop. It was just a bunch of right turns. Go out of the Tamworth Lodge, turn right, run down the road, Tamworth Road. And then you run up Hollow Hill Road, and then you make a right at that dead end. You go down, and you pass the library, the theater, the other store, the Gilman. You go across the bridge, and then there's a little corner with the church where the farmers market was every Saturday. You make a right, then you'd be right back home at the Tamworth Lodge. This would take me about like 30 minutes. And one morning I was running, I was probably 25 minutes into that loop, and I got stopped by a policeman with police tape, and he said, "You can't go past here." Now I only had like 5 minutes left of my run. All I had to do was go through the town, turn right, and I'd be back at the lodge. The only other option at this point was to go back 25 minutes. I didn't even have a phone. I couldn't be late to rehearsal, so I had to find another way. So I decided to push through the bushes of this old abandoned building, which is now the Tamworth Distillery. So I pushed through the bushes, went across the little brook, and there was a huge field. And through it diagonally, I could see the lodge, the porch of the lodge that I was staying. And I was like, great, just keep them running, be there in 2 minutes. Start running, like halfway there, when I hear a loud voice scream at me, "Stop where you are! Turn around and put your hands above your head!" Shit! You're a real tough Tamworth with a long history. Up in lanes and eating lunch by that tree. But the SWAT team's here just to see what I'm doing. I guess I'll put my hands up, let them get right to it. Hit me with your best shot. Don't you hit me with your best shot. Hit me with your best shot. Fire away. There were six SWAT team members with automatic rifles. What did I do? I mean, come on, this is Tamworth. So I figured I would just listen to them and walk towards the guy who was talking. Then the questioning began. Hit me with your best shot. What to do with the baby? Hit me with your best shot. What baby? They touched my fire away. Well, supposedly there had been a man in town holding his girlfriend, a baby boy, and 8 sticks of dynamite hostage overnight. I had this general profile of the man, and that field I was running in was his backyard. Usually I have better timing than that. Anyways, I managed to get out without a scratch on me, no bullet wounds, and I was a Tamworth legend for about 2 days, so I'd say it was worth it. Hit me with your best shot. Hit me with your best shot. Hit me with your best shot. Fire away.
Barnstormers knows with great affection how paramount Dale Bragman is to the organization. Dale is the company manager with the mostest. She wears a million different hats and as many ways the glue that holds the company together. So the whole company of tonight's event would now like to join me on stage to perform original haikus in honor of our sweet, sweet Dale. So I'm going to have Elaine Anderson, please come up here. Elaine Anderson, who started with the Barnstormers in 1956. We're going to have our spokesmodel, Elaine, Andy, just pick a name one at a time, and then that person will step forward and read a haiku about our day.
Oh, I don't have my Sarah.
Dale Bragdon, woman. How does she do it? You know? Wears so many hats.
I know. Greg.
Who is Dale Bragdon? The general store of humans. She runs everything. Owns the Highland House. Owns the Highland House. Supper club before the show. Farm to theater. Stop.
Ma'am.
Cookies made by Dale. Butter from the local cows. It's Tamworth, honey.
Be cool, baby. Flowing locks of hair. Her dog Zoe follows her. Has too many keys.
Cheryl, follow that.
Oh my goodness, Dale. Everything is going wrong. I knew you could help.
lost in the mail. That's fine, Dale. That's fine.
The company car. Where is it? Asks Dale. It's gone. It is parked out back.
It's hard to be Dale. We marvel at her triumphs. Barnstormers thanks you.
Last one. Do you want this one?
With love in our hearts, we give thanks to Dale Bragdon, the Blue of Tamworth.
Yeah. Also, important to know, we have an announcement. Great news, the donation deadline has been extended to Sunday the 29th, ladies and gentlemen. And if Heritage you were getting, you now have a place to put it. So go on Facebook, go to any of our links that are there. If you have any questions of where else to donate, talk to Joe right in the back, and he'll be able to get that to you. Call your friends, call your enemies, have them all donate to keep the theater running. Thank you. Barnstormers is always such a sweeter place where love is in the air. Over the years, it's been joyous for our alumni to meet our significant others as they visit in summertime. Hi, Sean. It's especially sweet when the lovers get the chance to perform alongside each other. So, in the time-honored tradition of Cope and Priscilla Murray, Elaine Anderson and Jim Elward, Dale Place and Karen Perlow, Frank Wells and Vanette Wells, and Dave Brown and Jean Mar Brown, we now give you the soon-to-be betrothed, Amanda Huxtable and Jordan Stanley.
Baby, ready?
Yep.
Everything packed?
Yes.
This is going to be the best vacation
Oh,
ever!
it always is. Just think, basking in the sunshine, breathing in that fresh air.
Eating ice cream all day?
Can't believe we're so lucky to have found this awesome vacation spot. Did you pack your water shoes?
Uh-huh.
Change of costumes?
Uh-huh.
Spider spray?
Always.
Man, I can't believe we've been going to the same place for 8 years. 7 years? 7 years.
Has it been 7 or 8? I thought it was 6. When did we first start going there?
I think it was the summer of 2012.
Maybe you're right. All I remember is we were so miserable in New York that year. Audition season had been so terrible.
Yeah. I was catering 40 hours a week, and you were babysitting for that demon child on the Upper East Side. Also, we could afford our rent in our 6th floor walk-up in Harlem.
You are so right. God, I will never forget that fateful day when I came across the ad for Paradise.
I was tired of the city. We've been together too long.
Yeah.
Like a worn-out recording of a chorus line song.
After I slaved babysitting, I read backstage in my bed. And in the audition column, there was this letter I read.
If you like drinking Narragansett, never locking your front door.
If you're not at the Lyceum, then you're at the other store.
If you like making love in twin beds, Barnstormers get from an EPA?
I know. And no callback? What?
Do you remember the first time that we were there?
Oh my god, I was so nervous.
Been on this bus for 6 hours?
Are we at West Ossipee?
See lots of birds, trees, and flowers?
Ooh, I got a cramp in my knee.
Hey, did you learn your lines yet?
Still haven't gotten a script.
It's a week of rehearsal?
Must have got lost when it shipped.
Oh, is that the house where we're staying?
Ooh, an equity room just for me.
Oh, that's a scary spider.
But the ghosts are friendly.
There's only 3 stores in Tamworth, and everyone knows our name. Barn rehearsal is awesome!
Yeah, I'm so glad we came.
Yeah, we like Narragansett, and never locking our front door. I was just at the Lyceum.
Now I'm at the other store.
We're in love in the twin bed, and we're forming a show.
See, it all came together.
And we got a standing O. Yeah, we love the Barnstormers. They're our second family. Have us back every season. It's our dream vacay. Your turn, sing with us. Yeah, we love the Barnstormers. They're our second family. Have us back every season. It's our dream vacay.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is that time of night, almost time to say goodbye. But before we do, can we please introduce our amazing accompanist, Ms. Bronwyn. So to our friends, our fellow actors, our fellow board members, Barnstormers past, present, and future, we'll all be working there together. I hope this evening's show we were able to convey to you just the spirit of the Barnstormers. It is unique in so many different ways, and there are bumps in the road, and somehow we always get to the finish line. It's perfect in its own way, in our way. And sometimes we just have to stumble to the end. And to help us, I'd like to introduce our final performer, Miss Cheryl Mullings. Because except on the stage, we never get to see each other because I'm a morning person and I eat this thing that she's heard legend of called breakfast. And Cheryl's evening starts around 10 p.m., 11 p.m., which I've heard legend exists and people actually talk and hang out at that time. So, and therefore I'm a dear friend, and she's going to remind us to keep on stumbling because boy oh boy do we do so. And from all of us on stage tonight, to spend a summer in Tamworth, it is completely worth it. Ladies and gentlemen, Cheryl Mullings.
As we stumble along on life's funny journey, as we stumble along into the blue, we look here and we look there, seeking answers anywhere, never sure of where to turn or what to do. As we bumble our way through life's crazy labyrinth, barely knowing left from right, nor right from wrong. small little world in which we live. It can bore you till there's nothing left to give. 7 overrated wonders, 7 underwhelming seas. What'd you call me? 6 excruciating continents. Antarctica. Ugh, please. Still, you mustn't let it lick you. This planet, oh, so bland. Keep your eyeball on the highball in your hand as we stumble along crosslights, crowded dance floor. As we push and we shove, we live and we learn. And when we finally leave that barn and we see the morning star, we pull our bootstraps up and homeward turn as we stumble away. Dawn's like sunbeams, and no being right from right, no left from wrong. As long as we can hear the little bluebird, we'll sing our song as we stumble along, as we stumble, bumble, fumble,
$1,000 for the Barnstormers. Street afterwards for a few drinks.
He needs to drop bills.
Very important.